Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm your host, Jakel, the world's worst YouTuber, and holy crap, there are more of you today than there were yesterday. Oh my god. Yesterday, if you haven't seen it, I uploaded a video saying that I'm quitting Witch Talk and that all of my witchy stuff is going to come over here now. And I go into about a 42-minute video where I'm explaining everything that's going on and everything that's going on in my life, reintroducing myself as Darren as opposed to Melanie. And, whew, wow! Wow! I expected a couple of people to come over and like follow from over there, but yesterday morning I woke up with 414 subscribers. Today I'm looking at my count 552. Holy crap. Thank you all so incredibly much for actually coming over here and like, wow. Holy crap. I don't even know what to say, just thank you. Wow, thank you guys for coming over. Now, before I get too carried away, I want to let everybody know that this video is brought to you by my friend Rekka, and she is the one who has made the brand new profile picture for all of my social media. For almost my entire social media presence, this is the profile picture that I have been using, and although I love it very much and it has served me very well, coming from another artist friend many years ago, I just felt it was time to have a fresh start before moving forward. So when I was considering making or commissioning a new profile picture, my artist friend Rekka is absolutely the person that I thought of right away. And throughout the entire process, she consulted me the entire time. She even remembered one time that I had told her that I was a fan of heavy metal music and considered that when drawing out the logo part of this profile picture and made a very deathcore style font for the Just Jakel in the flames here. It is my greatest privilege to let you guys know that she is open for commissions. Prices vary depending on what you're asking for. So if you want to check out more of her stuff, go to her Instagram, Rekka, and that's going to be her handle on all of her social media other than TikTok, which is Rekhult. She is also a psychic medium, much like myself, and is offering tarot readings as well as oracle readings. And having gotten a reading from her myself, she is very perceptive in what her readings are able to see. So go check out her Instagram and give her a follow, if for no other reason, because I recommend it. So I want to give one more big thank you to my friend Rekka and a round of applause for this wonderful, beautiful profile picture that I'm going to be sporting on all of my social media. So now, moving on to the rest of the video. What's up, guys? I quit Witch Talk. Actually, I quit TikTok entirely. And that means that I'm going to be talking more about the witchy and spiritual things over here on my YouTube channel. And right now, I'm not 100% sure what that's going to look like. It was about a week ago at this point, at the time of me filming this, I tried doing a sit-down video where I'm talking more about witchy things and sort of my witchy experiences. I just didn't really like how it was turning out. I don't really have a lot of experience making videos like that, and it's going to be a little bit of time before I actually make a video like that, at least in that particular way that I had in my head. So I think for now, just what I'm going to do is talk about that type of stuff as it is a part of my life. For better or worse, when I started this particular YouTube channel, I was not nearly as invested in communicating with spirits or communicating with the gods or doing the kind of research that I do. And since I did fall off from uploading to YouTube and started doing TikTok in the meantime, a lot of things about myself and the way that I even make videos has changed a lot. So now I'm actually working on a way to incorporate both worlds into my YouTube stuff. And the way that I talked about it on TikTok was very much, this is just a part of my life, so why stop doing that here? So with that being said, somehow, some way, Zeus has become a very active part of my life. Not sure how that happened, but here he is! And that's actually really interesting because on social media, Zeus gets a lot of negative criticism. And there is a certain expectation about him that I don't really think holds up to what he's actually like. And if I were to get into that in great lengths, I would rather do it in its own separate video where I'm just talking about Zeus, which I'm actually planning on doing at some point relatively soon. So let's just say Zeus is here. And ever since I started working with him, shit's been going right for me. Things have just been settling down and leveling out, and it actually looks like there may be some kind of better future that I wasn't seeing before. And now, before I left TikTok, one of the last couple of things I was talking about was Zeus, and I made 3 videos. The first one was being the most successful, where I'm talking about how a lot of people have a bad idea about Zeus based on his representation in myths. But that doesn't mean that people should be taking that as an invitation to harass others because they work with Zeus. And it was in the second video of that series where I am responding to a comment where somebody asked, okay, well, Zeus is the god of the legal system and justice. What would that look like in today's day and age? And I gave my response. And in that video, I mentioned that if Zeus is working with you on a legal matter, Hecate is probably going to be involved in some way because people don't really realize how close Zeus and Hecate are. And of course, somebody was in the comments of that video not only being condescending and snarky to me, but being condescending and snarky to other people in the comments, saying, no, that's not right. Hecate and Zeus hate each other. It doesn't take a lot of time to take 2 minutes to do a little bit of research into Hecate and see that, no, they are friends and they exalt one another. Let's take a look real quick. Let's make a little segue to see how easy this is.
All right, here we are at Google. Let's just see. Hecate. All right, here's one that I have checked before, so honestly I know where I'm going. Hecate. If we scroll down here, we see a nice little entry referring to Hesiod, describes the goddess in the following glowing terms. Zeus, Cronus' son, honored Hecate above all others. He gave her splendid gifts to have a share of the earth and of the barren sea, and from the starry sky as well, she has a share in honor, and is honored most of all by the immortal gods. For even now, whenever any human on the earth seeks propitiation, by performing fine sacrifices according to custom, he invokes Hecate, and much honor very easily stays with that man whose prayers go to the goddess, accepts with gladness, and she bestows happiness upon him.
Now, granted, this is a small snippet out of a reference to Hesiod, and is one point in which we can find some kind of context. And it really only talks about the greatness of Hecate and the way that Zeus exalts her. So it really doesn't provide her opinion of him. But it does give us a jumping point and a glimpse into the past to realize that they, in the very least, weren't enemies. And again, I am a person who does not necessarily believe that the gods are static. I believe that they are their own beings, aside from whatever egregorical interpretation people have of them. In other words, I don't think that they are merely egregores. And maybe even if they were friends, they're not anymore because life happens and the gods have their own lives that we mere mortals know very little, if anything at all, about. It's just that attitude entirely that somebody comes in, sees something that they don't believe, and then chooses to talk down to others because of their belief. But maybe we should just take a second, fact check, as opposed to just being assholes in comments. And remember, here is not where we spill the tea, but it is where we sip the coffee. And although it really is inconsequential in the grand scheme of things, but it is that same attitude that people present when anybody talks about Zeus at all, and people become just feral. Bro, just do some research and take the time to set your bias aside and do research. Cultural, historical, religious context is what you're researching, instead of your feelings and your opinions. And that doesn't mean in any way, shape, or form that your feelings and opinions cannot be a part of it. But your feelings and opinions should not be inserted as fact, as opposed to just figuring out what the hell you're talking about. And all of that was a perfect demonstration of what I mean by this is not where we spill the tea, but it's where we sip the coffee. That would probably go good on merch. Just put that on a shirt or a sweater. This is where we sip the coffee. I could dig that. Ideas for future reference. Let me know if you guys would like to have a shirt that says this is where we sip the coffee. Oh god. Oh, now I'm sitting down because my back is fucking killing me. Sometimes I get stark reminders that I am not a spring chicken anymore. I'm almost 30. But with that being said, I'm going to try and wrap this up real quick. But yeah, working with Zeus as a psychic medium who can hear and interact with spirits and divinity. I know that sounds pretentious as hell, but bear with me. working with Zeus in that way, he has just been so super chill and just super cool about everything. Extremely supportive. I don't want to say he's got real dad energy, personally, because I've got daddy issues, so I don't know what a good dad looks like. But in my experience with him, he does have that super cool, super chill, laid back, maybe like cool uncle or maybe super supportive grandpa energy, maybe. In general, in my experience with him, he's just been such a cool, supportive God to have in my corner, and I am honestly genuinely grateful for him because that's some kind of stability that I need in my life that I haven't had for a very long time. And with that being said, on the surface, it seems a little counterintuitive to have Zeus over here while having Persephone straight front and center. But first of all, let's see how Persephone's candle is not lit at the same time as Zeus' candle is. But even in the instances where I do have their candle lit, which indicates that I have them in the same space at the same time, they work surprisingly well together. And that really surprised me because I too was like, hey, isn't that your dad who gave you away to Hades without your consent or something like that? So it put me off a little bit and I was just confused. And then I took a deeper look into sort of the cultural context into what went into that in that story. And you know what? It actually makes a little bit more sense now. But speaking of that particular story, I do plan on making a video where I am going into that story, which is the Hades and Persephone story. And that alone right there is kind of a misnomer because that story comes from a hymn to Demeter. So even though that particular video is still in the beginning stages where I'm still putting together the scaffolding and the framing of that video, because it's going to be a big video and it's going to be longer, but I do want to take a more critical look at that story and provide a little bit more context and, in the very least, present that story in the way that I have come to know it and the way that I have come to understand it. Because if you have spent any time on TikTok, particularly within the discourse surrounding the Hades and Persephone story, there appears to be a lot of misunderstandings and misconceptions about all of that. And I never want to sound like one of those evangelical preachers talking about the Bible. But when it comes to something like this, I feel like there is some context that does need to be provided so the picture can be painted better. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't want to take away from anybody the interpretation of a myth that means something to them. Because when we look at, read, or hear a myth, it means something to us, and that reflects something back to us, and that has value. And I never want to take away that value from somebody. But the thing that leaves me personally conflicted is when people take their personal interpretations and reach out to outside sources and context clues that actually aren't a part of the context to come to conclusions that actually don't hold up. And if those conclusions mean something to you, great. But then those conclusions get put out there and become the face of what that myth is. And even though those myths are out there, and there's nothing I can do to stop the tides, and I honestly wouldn't want to change that for the world. Let's kind of bring that back in a little bit. Let's kind of like push what we can away and try to come back and provide more context. And even though that's what I am saying about this video now and what I hope to set out to do, I also know that may not be exactly what happens by the time I upload it. But whatever is going to happen with that video, I am going to make it in some way, shape, or form. But it's going to take time because it's going to be a bigger video, and I'm actually going to have to do research and compile it together and put it together in a video format. So that's going to take some time. And if nothing else, it's just going to be my take and my interpretation of that story, and here's why. Because if nothing else, I feel like that interpretation should at least be put out there and considered to become part of something that we can sit and debate about, and something that people are now considering that wasn't being considered before. And on that note, it's time for the outro. I want to take the time once again to thank my friend Rekka for the wonderful, beautiful art piece that is now going to be the profile picture for all of my social media. And once again, go check her out, in the very least, over on Instagram, Rekka Rooney. And I also want to thank every single one of you who have now subscribed to the channel, coming over from TikTok, and the wonderful, amazing, kind words that you have all said, understanding why I'm leaving, and just the great amount of support that I've received from everybody is phenomenal, and I can't thank everybody enough for it. So thank you, everybody who's watching this. And if you are willing and able, please consider supporting the channel. Links to the link tree will be in the description below. If you are unable to do that and you still are wanting to support the channel in some way, go ahead and just drop a like on this video right here. Sometimes even small little things like that can go a very long way. And on that note, I want to take the time to thank everybody who has supported the channel in any of the above ways listed so far. It really does mean a lot to me. I'm getting caught up on my own words. I'm going to take off now. Until next time, much love, peace out, namaste, and goodbye.